From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Cascade Paint and Supply is Reading's oldest family-owned paint store, established in 1953. We are the largest Dunn Edwards dealer in the nation, and most of our products are made in the U.S. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff are ready to answer your questions and help you today.
Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Mike Kruger. Hope you had yourselves a great Labor Day weekend. Hopefully you had those 3 days off. What a beautiful day it was out there yesterday. Much cooler really across the board. But you know what? Things are back to normal. You got to get back to work, and looks like we're going to see some heat return. We typically consider Labor Day weekend to be that unofficial wrap-up of the summer season, but it's going to feel a lot more like summer as we go into this week here. Let's get into that. Let's start off with Kruger's Quickcast. For those of you that are in a hurry, just want a quick idea what to expect today and the next couple of days. Well, you've come to the right place. We're going to do this here real quickly here to kind of get you an idea here so you can be on your way. Temperature is mid-60s for the valley this morning heading out the door. So, not that bad on the mild side. Mid-50s, though, as you head into the higher elevations, and not to mention even dry conditions. Now, there is going to be a little bit of patchy fog. Looks like this morning around the Eureka area here, but otherwise, it's going to clear out pretty rapidly if you do have some of that patchy fog this morning. There's this afternoon, sunny skies really across the board, including the coast. Going into tonight, mostly looking at those clear skies as well, and that'll probably be the case here going into your Wednesday. So for today, remember we saw about 90 on average for most of us in the valley. How about more like 100? We're going to be about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday, and even warmer for many of those higher elevations as well. And not to mention the coast, you're going to get up to around 70. Now, we talked about more summer heat coming on in. Now, the reason why the National Weather Service is issuing this heat advisory for these areas, not necessarily because it's hotter than we've seen throughout the summer, but this is actually unusually warm or hot for this time of the year. The typical high in the valley is around the mid-90s, give or take. So when you get up to about 107, you're about 10 degrees above normal for this time of the year. So yes, it is heat that many of us are used to, but we have to remind ourselves that there are others that need watching out for with this type of heat. Elderly, pets, younger children, right? So just be aware of that here as we go into your Wednesday and Thursday. Think of others if you don't mind or can handle this type of heat. It's the others that really need that extra help. All right, let's take a look at your 7-day outlook. As you can see, the peak of this warming trend will probably be around Wednesday, Thursday, before we start to see a slight dip in our temperatures going into the weekend and a bigger drop in our temperatures by the second half of the weekend and early next week. Your 7-day outlook for the coast, right around 70 through Thursday, upper 60s by the time you get into Friday, Saturday. Notice the chance for showers, maybe some thunderstorms on Friday for the inland areas, and not to mention out for Weaverville as well. Now for Mount Shasta, also that chance for showers, thunderstorms Friday, as well as Alturas. Susanville, I've kept that chance in there even for your Saturday, but we'll take a closer look at this chance for showers and thunderstorms here in our deeper dive forecast. All right, that's Kruger's Quickcast. Now you can head out the door, know what to expect here, and even a quick look at your 7-day outlook. But now, let's take a look at the main story behind that forecast. We're going to start off with the weather headlines. We do have a warming trend this week. That's something I was talking about in Kruger's Quickcast, but we do have the warming trend back up into the triple digits for the valley as early as today. Even the higher elevations seeing some of those triple digits, but by the second half of the weekend in particular, not as hot, and that chance for showers and thunderstorms I was talking about. All of this we'll talk about in more detail here in a second. Real quick update on those fires. The Park Fire is at 98% containment here as of last night, so we are getting closer and closer to the 100% containment as well. There you can see the Boise fire at just under 13,000 acres, 72% containment as of last night. So it looks like we are definitely seeing some really good containment on that as well. Do want to remind you, of course, I am keeping an eye on the Centerville fire as well. That's at 59 acres and 40% containment, by the way. But as of reports coming in from the firefighters, they have stopped any forward progress of that fire. So just kind of keep that in mind as we kind of talk about the Centerville fire as well. But taking a look at the forecast winds, here's the deal. The good news is, typically we've been seeing 15 miles per hour or higher in the afternoon hours, but now we're actually 15 miles per hour, that is, or below going into the afternoon. So the wind's not quite as strong as we've seen here, and we certainly have seen a lot stronger winds even just on kind of that daily basis. But look at the humidity levels. They are staying fairly low, and in fact they'll probably get even lower going into your Wednesday, and the reason for that is it's getting hotter. So we add that heat into the mixture here, and there you can see the fire weather risk for today in the moderate to high range for the valley, not as bad in the mountains, but again, as it gets even hotter for your Wednesday, now we're in that high to even very high category for Wednesday, not to mention central Siskiyou County, and in that low to moderate range, especially off into the eastern mountains. So the area of low pressure responsible for the cooler weather, that's moving on out of here, and high pressure is building in, and that's what's going to give us those hotter temperatures. But before we talk about that heat, let's talk about the chances for showers and thunderstorms. So for today, obviously not the case. We've got clear skies across the board, including the coast, and that'll be the case going into your Wednesday as well. So looking absolutely gorgeous there. Now we go into your Friday. Friday is when we got the chance for showers and thunderstorms here for the higher elevations, even some of the inland areas. For Saturday, doesn't look like that's going to happen, but again, I've continued to keep that chance in there for places like Susanville and southward. All right, then we go into Sunday, Monday of next week. We actually got an area of low pressure right here kind of pushing to our north. So it looks like we could be looking at around Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, maybe some showers pushing to our north. Other models are taking an area of low pressure and diving it down off to our west. But bottom line, it is going to be cooler next week. We've got some heat this week, but next week is not expected to be quite as hot. But again, let's talk about that. Western Siskiyou County for Thursday is the heat advisory, highs up to 105 there. For the valley and the surrounding foothills, up to 107. For Wednesday through Friday is that heat advisory. Once again, for those of you that are kind of maybe just rolling your eyes about this heat advisory, number one, keep in mind this is coming in from the National Weather Service. This is not necessarily coming from me, right? This is just something I'm reporting that the Weather Service thinks is important. So again, this is one of those situations where many of you might be saying, but it was hotter. We got up to 115, up to 120 this summer. Why do we have a heat advisory for 107? Keep in mind, you may be okay with it. You might be fine, you might be healthy and can handle this heat, but we have to remember there are those out there that can't, right? A lot of the elderly, young children, your pets you need to be on the lookout for as well. So just some things to think about in the back of your mind when we talk about these heat advisories. It's not just yourself. You've got to look out for others as well. But that being said, look out for yourself. Maybe think about drinking a bit more water here if you do work outside and taking more breaks. Just a few things to think about because, again, we actually got a nice little break from that heat through most of the month of August, actually. So we're kind of getting back to some of that summer heat. And the reason being is this high pressure is building in. That's the peak of the heat wave around Wednesday, Thursday, even Friday. Then as we go into the weekend, we're going to see this little weak trough begin to kind of move on in. And then as that kind of pushes through, temperatures really continue to drop, especially by Sunday and into Monday. This cooler air right here is going to ride to our north, preventing that heat from building in. It may even bring a little bit of rain for the north end of Northern California by around Tuesday, Wednesday. The timing and actually the placement of this. The forecast model run right before this one came out took this cooler air and took it down here. And that would have indicated a better chance for showers by Wednesday, Thursday of next week. But now it's pushing it off to our east. So still some uncertainty as we do get beyond this weekend. Certainly something worth watching. But again, it looks like the bottom line is, taking rain out of the equation, cooler temperatures are on the way. But we've got to get through this week first. There's that peak on Thursday, temperatures dropping and below normal through a good portion, if not all, of next week. All right, so let's get through this week. And it's only a 4-day work week. All right, we at least have that to look forward to, but not necessarily that heat. Here are your wave heights, and it looks like as we go into your Tuesday today, they're a little high as you start heading out here, and then we see a little spike after that before they do start to drop going into your Wednesday. Let's take a look at your marine forecast for your Tuesday. Northwest winds at about 10 to 15 knots. Waves from the northwest at 3 feet at 7 seconds, and northwest 4 feet at about 11 seconds. Here's a look at your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. It's beginning to warm up a little bit here. Lewiston about 92, 94 degrees for Weaverville, and Big Bar about 94 degrees. But it's really around tomorrow, Thursday, that we're going to start to see that those temperatures increase. There's that chance for showers and thunderstorms really across the board for the higher elevations here on Friday. As you can see for the coast, I don't anticipate any rain, but you are going to see more clouds and cooler temperatures as we go into the weekend and early next week. 94 for high today in Gas Key, Smith River about 81, 98 for Hoopa, 101 for Orleans. And yeah, look at that. I mean, places like Crescent City, 71. Out towards McKinleyville, you'll see a high of 71. Your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast looks like about 96 out in Happy Camp. But for the I-5 corridor, looks like mainly, I-5 corridor is right here. I don't know why I do that, but I-5 corridor is right here, mainly in the mid to upper 80s, some low 90s in there as well. Places like Dunsmuir about 92, 83 for Fort Bidwell, 80 in Cedarville, 81 for Tule Lake in California Pines, about 84 degrees. Your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast, 70s. 80s, 90s. We've got a lot of different microclimates in the Eastern Mountains. That's why you see such a big spread. Viola, much higher elevation, 79 degrees. You head out to Greenville, not quite as high of elevation, much warmer, 91. Susanville, 89, 87 for Shingletown. There's that chance for showers, thunderstorms, maybe on Friday and Saturday as well. Your Valley neighborhood forecast to the south looks like mainly upper 90s to about 100 degrees for most of us in the Valley here for today. But again, it's Wednesday and Thursday and Friday that we're really going to start to see that heat begin to move on in. Looking at that 7-day forecast for Redding, yeah, we're talking 106 degrees on Thursday. Slowly dropping after that, mid-90s by Sunday and Monday. That's your morning update. I'll be right back here at noon for your afternoon update.
We're the locals down the street. The neighbor you come to for advice. A nest egg for the golden years. A loan or a new account for that growing business. What started in Chico 50 years ago has taken us all around California, providing big bank lending power and high-tech service, while keeping our relationships personal. We're still the locals down the street, no matter where your street might be. Tri-Counties Bank, California's local bank.